Greetings to all Class 7 people wherever you are. This is Mr. Linus. Welcome again to our lesson. It is Civics. Today we are going to discuss about the same topic, the Constitution of the United Republic, the Constitution of the United Republic, but the subtopic that is the Parliament of Tanzania. But basically, and more specifically, today we are going to learn about the functions of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania. Remember, in the previous lesson, we discussed about the parts of the Tanzanian Parliament, as well as the categories, all the types of members of Parliament. We said that the parts of the Tanzanian Parliament are to the President and the National Assembly. When we say the National Assembly, we mean the members of Parliament. And we discussed about those 6 types of members of Parliament. But today, we're going to discuss about the functions of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania. Remember, this Parliament has so many functions, but today we're going to discuss about some few functions of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania. Now, to start with, we have the first function over here, and this is the core function of the Parliament, that is to make laws of the country. So, to make laws of the country. Yes, this is the first function of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania, to make laws of the country. Remember, our country is a democratic state, and therefore we have the constitution guiding us. And apart from the constitution, we have different laws made by the Parliament of the United Republic, so as to enable everything to move smoothly in accordance with the Constitution of the United Republic. Remember, any law that is enacted by the Parliament must be constitutional, you see. So that is number 1. Number 2, that is to amend. Laws. That is the second function of the Parliament of the United Republic, to amend laws. When you say to amend laws over here, what do we mean? This means that this is making some changes in different laws. You see, the laws they can be enacted today, tomorrow, and then after some time you find that such laws are no longer applicable. They are no longer suitable to the prevailing situation. So if that happens now, so that becomes the right time for the Parliament to amend such laws, the existing laws, so that they can be more suitable to the prevailing circumstance or situation. So we have so many laws here enacted by the Parliament, but later on they have been amended for several times. Now we have another one. Be good. This is to approve the appointment. To approve the appointment of the Prime Minister. To approve the appointment of the Prime Minister. This is another function of the Parliament of the United Republic, that immediately after the Prime Minister has been nominated or appointed by the President of the United Republic. Now, before this Prime Minister is sworn in, then the Parliament must authorize him. The Parliament must make sure that he's given credibility for him to be the prime minister, and they're always doing that through voting. They're always voting over there to see if at all there's the newly nominated candidate is suitable for that position of the prime minister. You see, so when that is done by the parliament, when the members of parliament have done that, then the president swears in the prime minister now to start his duties effectively. Okay. Now that is number 3. Number 4. This is to oversee and advise the government. 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 You see, this is another function of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania. That you see, this is the main pillar that is responsible for advising the government of the United Republic. You see, to responsible to advise, but to oversee, to see that the government is actually performing its activities according to law, and above all, that is performing everything under the consent of the people, but for the benefit of the people. So the government in power is there, although the people are there as leaders for the benefit of the people, not benefiting themselves. You see, so the government, this parliament is there because remember the parliament is an organ, but made up of the people's representatives. You see. So they are supposed to make sure that they advise the government fully and correctly so that the government can perform its activities, basically aiming at enhancing good lives of the people, the citizens, so to say. Yes. But we have another function of the parliament over here. This is to receive, discuss and pass the government's budget. Government's budget. Well, this is another function of the parliament, that to receive, discuss and pass the government's budget. Remember, we have several ministries, and each ministry is led by the minister. You see, now in every financial year, each minister prepares a budget that is to be presented before the members of parliament for discussion and finally passing. That now the government can be free, can be free to start using and implementing the already passed budget for the benefit of the people. You see, so they are there to do that. So the parliament is there to receive from the ministers or the cabinet in general. Okay, they discuss and finally they do what they pass that in the national budget, which is the government's budget. Remember, if they don't pass this budget, remember here the president is obliged to dissolve the parliament. That's why they always have a very thorough discussion on the already prepared budget, so that the president cannot dissolve the parliament, because that is very costly. You see. Then another function of the parliament, that is to impeach the president. To impeach the president. Impeaching the president is to sue the president. To sue the president and remove him from office. You see, so the main pillar, or the only pillar with the authoritative powers to remove the president from office is the parliament or the National Assembly. You see, and this is done only and only if the president has been suing or is seen to be doing things which are unconstitutional, breaching the Constitution of the United Republic. Therefore, the members of parliament on behalf of the people can institute this, and you find that the president is impeached and removed from office for the benefit of the majority, and especially for bringing about the harmony in the society, in the country. But I don't think if at all this can happen here in Tanzania, because actually we are very much constitutional. Our leaders are very much concerned with this. Now we have another one, another function of the Parliament of the United Republic. This is to elect the Speaker. Elect the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker. Yes. These are leaders of the Parliament. The leaders who are always lead the parliamentary sessions. Okay? Now, we have the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. You see, these leaders, immediately after the general election, and during the first meeting of the new parliament, the members of parliament gather and elect their leaders, and they start with the Speaker. Okay, immediately after the Speaker is elected, now another procedure comes in of the Speaker to take the oath of office, and this is always done by the clerk of the National Assembly, the one who normally serves in the Speaker of the National Assembly. Then we have the Deputy Speaker, who is elected after the Speaker, and then the Speaker serves in the Deputy Speaker. So this is another function of the Parliament of the United Republic. Another function of the Parliament of the United Republic. Coming to number 8, this is to discuss the implementation of which ministry, of each ministry during parliamentary meetings. Parliamentary meetings. You see? Yes. As we know that each ministry has its own plans, policies, and everything to be followed and implemented in a particular set period of time. So, when it comes to the National Assembly or the Parliament, you see, when these parliament have their regular meetings, you see, now when the sessions are going on, you see, these ministers are normally asked by the members of parliament to see, to see that if at all these ministers have implemented well their plans and what have you see, this is very, very important to see the effectiveness of each minister, to see the accountability of the leaders, how far they have implemented it, or what they planned. So the people must know, and actually that's why the members of parliament do ask these ministers. You see, they ask, how far have you implemented? How far have you implemented what? How far have you implemented? How far have you implemented, or what do you plan to do in this set period of time? You see, that is very important. Now, that's very important. My dear learners, for today, let us end up here. That we have been discussing about the functions of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania, as we have said here. Please, these are very few. These are very, very few. There are so many other functions, but for today, let us end up here. Then we shall proceed with this in the next class. Thank you very much for listening and viewing. Bye-bye.